Hey everyone, and welcome to RUBIN'S Mind Lab, where we break down the latest research into what it really means. Ever wonder how your early teen years, those tricky social times, might actually shape your brain as it grows? Well, this new study digs into just that, looking at how bullying and being bullied might leave a mark. Imagine your brain is like a developing city. As you grow, some areas get built up, others get refined. This study asked a super important question: what happens to this brain development, specifically in parts of the brain that handle emotions and social stuff, when kids are going through a lot of peer trouble, like being bullied or bullying others? And what if this is happening consistently over time? And does this look different for boys and girls? So, what did they do? They looked at a huge group of kids, nearly 9,000 of them, from the Adolescent Brain Cognitive Development Study. These kids were tracked for a couple of years, from about age 11 to 14. They asked them about their experiences with bullying and being bullied. Using this information, they grouped the kids into 4 main patterns or trajectories. These groups were pretty interesting. About 62% of the kids were in a stably low group, meaning they didn't experience much bullying or engage in it. Then there was an increasing group where these experiences went up over time, a decreasing group where they went down, and a small but important group, about 4%, called the persistently high group, who dealt with a lot of bullying and being bullied consistently over those 2 years. Now, for the brain part, they also had MRI scans from about 2,300 of these kids, looking at how the thickness of their brain's outer layer, called the cortex, changed over those 2 years. This cortex is super important for thinking, feeling, and interacting with others. The big question was whether these different peer experience patterns were linked to different changes in cortical thickness in specific brain areas known for social and emotional processing. They looked at 7 key areas. Here's where things get a bit nuanced. When they looked at the whole group of kids together, their main analysis didn't find any clear links between these peer trajectories and changes in cortical thickness. It seemed like, on average, the brain development didn't show a clear difference based on these bullying patterns when you lump everyone together. But that's often where the real story begins, isn't it? Because we know that boys and girls often experience and express things differently, and their brains develop a little differently. The researchers decided to take a closer look, separating the boys and girls, and this is where they found something really interesting, something that wasn't obvious when looking at everyone as one big group. In the persistently high group, those kids who were consistently involved in bullying and being bullied, they found sex-specific effects in 2 brain regions. First, in the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, or DAXI for short. This area is like a threat detector and helps us decide how to act. Among boys in the persistently high group, they saw much less thinning in this DAXI compared to boys in the stably low group. Basically, their DAXI seemed to change much less, almost staying the same thickness, while it thinned normally in the other group. This suggests something different is happening in their threat detection system. Then, in the lateral orbitofrontal cortex, or low SC, which is involved in learning from consequences and adapting behavior, they saw a different pattern in girls. Girls in the persistently high group actually showed greater thinning in this area compared to girls in the stably low group. This means they're low group, this means they're low capitally. They also saw a trend in another area called the precuneus, which is involved in self-reflection and social understanding, where girls in the persistently high group also showed less thinning. So, what does this all mean? The study suggests that while peer victimization and perpetration often go hand in hand and develop in parallel ways, it is the persistent involvement in these negative dynamics, especially from ages 11 to 14, that seems to be linked to distinct brain changes. And importantly, these links look different for boys and girls. For boys, the lack of thinning in the DAXI, that threat detection area in the persistently high group, might mean their brains are staying in a constant state of vigilance, perhaps adapting to a perceived constant social threat. This could mean they're less likely to tune down their threat response even when it might not be needed, which could have long-term effects on how they react to social situations. For girls, the greater thinning in the loft suggests a different kind of brain adjustment. This area is crucial for learning from our mistakes and changing our behavior. Greater thinning here might indicate that their brains are trying to adapt by rapidly processing negative social experiences and learning from them, though the study doesn't tell us if this learning is necessarily adaptive or healthy. The researchers emphasize that these findings highlight the importance of looking at both the co-occurrence of bullying and bullied and how long these experiences last. It is not just about isolated incidents, but about persistent involvement in negative peer environments that seems to be neurodevelopmentally relevant. Now, like any study, this one has its limitations. The persistently high group was relatively small, so more research is needed to confirm these findings. They also only looked at a 2-year window of brain development. However, this study is really strong because it followed kids over time, looking at both their experiences and their brain changes, which is much more powerful than a one-time snapshot. What is the takeaway for parents, educators, and anyone working with adolescents? This research underscores the importance of early intervention. Identifying and supporting kids who are stuck in these negative peer cycles, especially when it's consistent, is crucial for their developing brains and their future well-being. It's about understanding that these social experiences aren't just fleeting moments, they can shape the very structure of the adolescent brain. What are your thoughts on this? Does it make sense to you? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this as fascinating as I did, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to RUBIN'S Mind Lab for more science deep dives, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next exploration into the wonders of the human mind. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.